Hi, my name's Kay, and this is Kay's Creative. It's all about fiber arts with knitting and crochet. And today I'm going to be going over how I made this beautiful granny square blanket behind me. So first I'm going to go over the calculations to figure out how many squares you would need for each size. I'll then talk about how I did each of the types of squares. For the star and the moon, I used somebody else's tutorial, and for the spiral sun, I ended up using my own. I'll also leave some other tutorials for suns that aren't like the spiral shape and are just solid. And then I will go over the border for the blanket. So this blanket, it's made up of three different designs. You have a star, you have a sun, and you have a moon. So I made roughly a queen size blanket, and in order to figure out how many squares I needed, I looked at the square inch size of a queen size blanket, and then I divided that by 16 because they're 4 by 4 inch squares. And I ended up needing 120 squares total. And because I'm using three different types of squares, 120 divided by 3 equals 40. So it'd be 40 suns, 40 stars, and 40 moons to get 120 squares. Now for the moon and the star granny square, I used two different tutorials. For the moon tutorial, she uses a 3.5 millimeter hook, which gives you like a 3.5 by 3.5 inch square. So to make it a 4 by 4 square, I just went up to a 4 millimeter hook. And for the star granny square, I used a tutorial by Viv Crochets. And for the star, Viv Crochet uses a 5 millimeter hook, which is what I use as well. So for the moon and the star, the only thing that I changed about the tutorials was I used a slightly bigger hook size for the moon, which was the 4 millimeter hook. And then I have my own tutorial that I ended up using for the spiral sun square. I tried a different couple of sun tutorials, especially with the spiral suns, but they were often too big, so I ended up just making my own, essentially. So all three of those tutorials will be linked below, but if you want to make also a queen size blanket, you would follow those tutorials and you would make 40 of each of the three types of squares: the star, the sun, and the moon. Then I used an invisible seam to put all of the granny squares together. Again, I'll put a tutorial for that in the link below. And then finally, for the border. So for the border, I ended up using the same green color for the stars for the border, and I used a 4 millimeter hook using the treble crochets. And then for the corners, I did 2 treble crochets, chained 3, and then 2 treble crochets in the same stitch. So to reiterate all of this above, I made 120 squares, and I made 40 of each of the 3 types of squares to get the 120 total. I followed the star and the moon tutorial below, where the only adjustments that I made for the moon was using a slightly bigger hook size so that they would all be 4 by 4 inch squares. And then I also created my own tutorial for the spiral sun granny square. I put all the squares together using the visible seam, and then I did a border with the triple crochets. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope this could possibly help you make a similar blanket. Besides the spiral sun tutorial, this is my second tutorial of its kind. So let me know if this was helpful, if there's other suggestions for how to improve in terms of like giving a tutorial style of video for you guys. But leave a like if you enjoyed this, subscribe if you want to see more, and leave a comment if you think you're going to end up making this possibly. I hope to see you all next time.